So, I just spoke with my niece, and she said that this would be a good idea so that other people who have gone through similar situations would know that they're not alone, and that sometimes things do get better if you fight for them. So I had a moment today, and this happens frequently, with PTSD or any kind of trauma in general, anxiety, depression, anything. Randomly, there will be certain things that trigger that, and mine today was seeing a little boy who looked like my little brother before the massive amount of abuse that we went through as children. And this little boy was so happy. And I remember my brother being that happy. And I really, really miss it. And I love my brother. He was my best friend growing up, I have to say that. So that's why it tore me up. And I've been crying, obviously, about this. And just remembering things. Which is when I talked to my niece, and she was like, yes, do this. Do a YouTube vlog detailing stories of your childhood growing up. So this is episode 1, and it's going to start from beginning to now. And so here we go with that, I guess. So growing up, my parents were drug addicts. Their drug of choice was meth. They honestly were not the best parents, but it wasn't always bad. They did try occasionally, but honestly, I can't remember a time where that was the case. I only know stories that I've been told by family members and things like that. Sorry, my hand is shaky. I'm holding my phone. I will have the next video to where it's not so shaky. But I was schizophrenic. I'm still schizophrenic. And I didn't know that. And they didn't know that. I want to say 7 years old when I started hearing voices and seeing things. And because of my parents, they thought that it was funny. My mom also believed that all of the houses we lived in were haunted, so I was seeing ghosts. And that terrified me. I was scared of literally everything. I was terrified to be alone. In general, I would hear my name be called. I would hear pretty awful things. I would see pretty awful things, and sometimes I would have really vivid images in my head of what could happen to my siblings if I wasn't there. In my head, I was the protector. I was like, if I was there, nothing bad was going to happen to them. And some of these images, especially for my age, were extremely gruesome. And honestly, me being a parent are things that I couldn't picture a child vividly thinking. And then I have to step back and remember that, like, I thought those things. So, other kids probably do too. And they don't understand it. Because my parents were drug addicts, they would constantly do things to try to scare me and to try to make me cry, and they were actually extremely abusive towards me, more so than my siblings. They definitely wanted me to know that I was an unwanted child. One vivid memory that I do have is of me, and I know I was in 3rd grade, and my dad had been asleep on the couch for a couple of days. I'm pretty sure he was coming down from meth, and me and my little brother were running around the house like hooligans because we had nobody to take care of us. And I had this chair that was given to me by my aunt that it was just like a little kid's chair. It was a little kid's armchair, and my little brother sat in it. And I was so mad and I wanted my chair back, so I sat on top of my brother and I was like, if you don't get out of my chair, I'm gonna pee on you. And I did. Well, a few hours later, my older brother, who was 19 at the time, got home from work, and I smelled like piss, obviously, and my chair smelled like piss, and my brother smelled like piss, because we were fucking kids who couldn't take care of ourselves, excuse my language, and he put us in a bath. That's just one of the instances of neglect that I actually went through. Living in that same trailer, another really vivid memory that I have is waking up for school one morning, and my mom and dad were fighting and being really angry at each other, and like telling, I heard stuff. I didn't know what was going on at the time. All I knew is that cops were coming to the house, and because my parents were drug addicts and because they were scared of the cops, I was scared of the cops. I was like, oh no, cops. And I had gone to bed in the shirt and pants that I had worn previously to school. I had spilled some red juice on the front of my shirt, and I was not having help getting dressed. I didn't know where my clothes were, and so I turned my shirt inside out so that I thought the red juice stain would be hidden, and I went to school like that. And I was picked on heavily, very heavily. When I got home from school that day, we were getting kicked out of that house, or trailer. My parents were like, we gotta go. So we left. And again, I was only 7, so, I didn't know what the hell was going on. I was terrified. And we went to Denver, which is a bigger city, and we were staying in a hotel. We had stayed there for a couple of days, and there were people in the room beside us, and this is actually the first time I saw a dead body, and it was fucked. And my parents had been doing drugs and having threesomes, or foursomes, I guess, with the couple in the room beside us. At one point, the guy and my dad had been doing drugs, and my mom and the woman were out of the room going to the lobby of the hotel because they wanted to get snacks or whatever. And me and my brother and my older sister were in our hotel room, and we heard all this fighting in the room beside us, which we knew our parents were in. And we were like, oh no, what's going on? And then on the balcony, we heard people fighting. So I go out to the balcony to see why there's yelling on the balcony. And we were on the 13th floor of this hotel. And the guy jumped from the 13th floor of the hotel. And I saw him afterwards. And it was awful. My parents never even tried to shield us because they weren't there to. In that same hotel room, because my parents were more worried about doing drugs and having sex with the people in the room beside us, my brother and I were playing. I don't know where my sister was at that point, but I know me and my little brother were in the room together, and he had, I don't know what it was, I don't remember. It was metal though, and he stuck it into the light socket and was electrocuted pretty badly. In fact, it turned off all of the lights on the 13th and the 12th floor of the hotel. And my parents never called 911. They never did anything other than slap my brother awake because they didn't want to call the cops. After that, of course, the hotel was like, you need to leave. And so we did. And I remember after we left, we were walking, and I swear we walked all day because we left early the next day. They let us stay the night after my brother turned off the power, basically. And when we wake up and it's early, it's almost dark outside. It was so early, and we gather all of our stuff, which we didn't have much. I remember having a backpack on. And my brother didn't, and I don't remember where my sister was at this point either. I know that she wasn't there though. And we walked all day. We walked from, this is in Colorado. We walked all the way from Denver, to Littleton. And I remember my feet were so sore, my legs hurt so bad, until we got a ride with a guy in a truck, and my dad had stopped somewhere. He was going somewhere else, and he took a bus there, and it was just me, my mom, and my little brother. And we met up with my dad at this Mexican restaurant, and we ate. I'm pretty sure they probably didn't pay the tab. Dine and Dash was a huge thing that my parents liked to do with us. And that's where I'm gonna kind of end this one. Sorry, I had to go check on my kids. They were arguing over TV, which is ridiculous, because they shouldn't even be watching TV right now. They're supposed to be doing their chores. But yeah, I'm Nomi. You don't know me. I will pick back up with more of my childhood trauma, probably the end of this week or the start of next week. I don't know if I'm going to be doing 2 videos a week or just 1. Don't know. But yeah, if you need someone to talk to, definitely reach out, because it's worth it no matter what you're going through.